Hello again and welcome. Yes, we're back. It's the Gun Cranks, and we're here for another virtual gun counter argument. Today, we are brought to you by the number 3. I say that because my granddaughter was here over the weekend, so we were watching Sesame Street. But I am Guns Magazine editor Brent Wheat, along with American Handgunner editor Tom McHale. And there's a new guy. Well, he's not exactly new. He's a former guest here. He is the editor of AmericanCop.com. It's Erick Gelhaus, live from the deserts of Arizona.
I thought it was some guy Zoom bombing our meeting here.
That would be pretty cool. So,
Zoom bomb. Roy's
on double secret assignment this week. Something to do with he's parachuting into Colombia and drug lords and knifings and stuff. So Erick was gracious enough to get away from the tarantulas and come in and talk to us. You actually did have a tarantula encounter this morning, didn't you?
Late last night, walked back into the gatehouse here at gun site, and I see movement on the floor, and there, all 8 legs crawling towards the guy who's coaching for me, is a tarantula about the size of a coffee saucer plate. Let's just say that Clint's reactions were stellar. All the furniture in the house was moved at a speed much like a tweaker, and then the broom came out, and the tarantula was gently ushered out the front door of the gatehouse.
See, I say the only appropriate response is gunfire, but your boss gets worked up about that or something?
He might, yes.
Yeah.
Until we go to burn this place down and move into the new building.
Well, I don't want to be around when they do, because the tarantulas are liable to just a sea of tarantulas. Well, thanks for joining us and taking a time out from teaching a class. Today we're going to argue about concealed carry foul-ups, bleeps, and blunders. I think that we can co-opt that show title, right, guys? Right out of the gate, Tom McHale. I can't imagine you've ever made a concealed carry foul-up, bleep, or blunder, have you?
Not that I can recall. I mean, there was that one time, but it was a plan, more than a strategy. More than
I meant to do that.
Yeah. Okay, so I learned something. I'm going to start with the learning first. You know those carry t-shirts, they're made out of spandex, Under Armour material, whatever it is. I learned that those are actually manufactured from a combination of ice and Teflon. They mash it all together and convert it into a shirt, because early in my concealed carry days, I was using that to carry a Glock 32, which, as you may recall, is same size as a Glock 19, so it's not a small gun, but it's chambered in .357 SIG. So, weighs a little bit. It's not the world's heaviest gun, but it's got some heft to it. So anyway, I had it, in my side chest in a carry pocket in one of those ice/Teflon t-shirts. And on this particular day, I was out doing a volunteer project outdoors with hundreds of other people, right, in some park type environment or something. And I was wearing a t-shirt. Now, that alone, that's another blunder, maybe wearing an undercover holster shirt with a t-shirt, that you can't open up, but we'll save that for the next story, right? So anyway, what I learned from this is that if you bend over to pick up something on the ground, the gun, being encased in ice and Teflon, can actually eject right out of the collar. I'm talking right in front of my neck, under my chin, can eject out of a t-shirt collar and land 6 feet in front of you. I know it sounds like a miracle, but I assure you it can happen. And you know what the weirdest thing about that was? I didn't know it. I mean, it wasn't like the gun hit me in the chin. It just kind of went, shooting out of there. I'm looking down at the ground for whatever I was picking up or doing, and there is my Glock 32, laying out there and in front of God and everybody in the middle of this field. So let that be a lesson to you, kids. You got to be careful with those shirts.
I have had a Glock 19 carried in a sub-quality ankle rig pass me during a foot pursuit and head towards the suspect. That was the end of my carrying a Glock 19 as a backup gun, and the end of that holster in the rotation.
Wait a minute. You're carrying a Glock 19 in an ankle holster. Let's back up to that.
1991, I was a baby cop. I thought more was better because I was carrying a 1911 as my primary. And this was probably also one of my last foot pursuits ever for anybody who knows me. But yeah, it came out of the holster and it shot down the street.
Mid-run.
That was the part that I really liked. It passed you. You know, you're running and it's like, well, hey, there goes my gun down the alley in front of me. Well, I had, my incident was probably funniest one. Could have turned out really, really bad, like probably all these stories could have. Well, back as a baby cop, you know, we were doing some plainclothes, following some troublemakers and miscreants and you know, dealing with them. And I thought I was really cool, so I carried what we will call south of the border. I stuck a gun down in my waistband, okay? Do as I say, not as I do. I'll freely admit, I carried it just stuck in my waistband. It was a Glock 21, I believe. Large gun, right? So we went through the night. We even got in a few scuffles, and it was a good day to be a cop, and I went home, and I went to pull the gun out of my waistband, and somehow the slide lock lever got into a tiny little hole between the waistband and the fabric of my undergarment. So as soon as I did this, I felt an odd tugging and my gun would not come out. So of course, not being, you know, thinking resistance, stop, relax, figure it. No, I'm going to town, and my wedgie is getting worse and worse and worse. And my wife happens to walk in and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I mean, I'm wrestling with my undergarment at this point, and it's probably about to the level of my neck. Finally, the waistband ripped off of my underwear and was hanging off of my Glock. And I decided there's a reason they tell you to carry a gun in a holster. So could have been entertaining.
You were tugging on your gun by tugging your gun? Or is that what I'm hearing?
I didn't think of it that way, but that would be an accurate statement, Your Honor. Wow. Can you only imagine if I'd gotten a gun battle out on the street? Hey, time out! Oh, ow, ow, ow! Or actually more like, ow, ow, ow!
Hey, Plaxico Burress kind of about shot his leg off doing that kind of carry method, as I recall, right?
Yeah. Well, of course, that reminds me, I think probably most folks have seen, it wasn't a concealed carry thing, but was it a Marshal Service? No, it was DEA agent who was giving the safety talk, and he's the only one qualified to carry a firearm, and I'll shoot, and shot himself in the leg.
This is a Glock 40. 50 Cent, Too Short, all of them talk about Glock 40. Okay, I'm the only one in this room professional enough that I know of to carry this Glock 40. I'm the only
But I got to give him credit. He kept trying to, carry on with the lecture, even though people are screaming. There's blood spurting every which way.
See that how the accident happened? It can happen to you, and you can be blown away. Okay? So guys, never play with guns.
Wait a minute, help me out on this, because I have a vague memory that at the end of that clip there was something like, next I'm going to show you, how to safely handle a rifle or something, and and the whole room erupts and no!
Brian, so bring that other gun out, Brian.
So I normally carry my spare magazine in a pocket mag pouch. And a few years ago, I was taking an instructor class, and I shot the whole class concealed with my spare mags on my belt. Well, now we're shooting a drill where we're doing a number of reloads under speed from concealment. And I'm forgetting or failing to clear my shirt from off of the magazine. So now I'm grabbing the mags through the shirt, trying to load both into the mag well. That was an unsuccessful moment.
Well, they say you should seat your magazine with authority. I would have been impressed if you'd got that magazine in. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to break the gun rider code right here. This is a pretty major violation of the gun rider code. Have you guys ever gone to present your pistol on the range and maybe tossed it 15 or 20 feet down the range? I have. I'll admit it. I did. Nothing inspires awe and admiration in your fellow students like just tossing a gun downrange.
Now, was it firing the whole way as it spun through the air? Kind of like, what was that movie, True Lies?
The funny thing when all these dumb things happen, that second or two right afterwards when there's total silence and you're thinking, I can't believe I did that, and everybody else is thinking, I can't believe he did that.
Well, I see when you started saying you were going to break the gun writers code, I thought you were talking about kind of tattling on another, gun industry professional for doing something dumb. I'm going to break the gun writers code. I was in a public bathroom a while back, and a certain producer of a certain video gun talk show, Gun Cranks. A certain producer was in a nearby stall, and the next thing I know, I see a gun skittering across the floor of the bathroom. Actually, okay, so that's a little bit of an exaggeration. I wasn't there, but I heard the story happened. I'm just saying.
Terrazzo, like there's in most public buildings, that kind of marbly looking stuff. There's something about it that when it meets gunmetal, it just sets off a series of reverberations the entire building can hear. Tom, our producer, he's giving you a hand sign. I think what he's saying is we've got one more minute. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
there,
1 minute.
Nick?
1 minute is, I think, is what he's saying.
Oh,
yeah.
Now we've got 2 minutes.
One on each hand?
Yes, one on each hand.
Oh.
Hey, you know what? I would kind of like to hear some stories in the comments because, we could go on for hours with this stuff, but I do get some ripe ones over email once in a while. I would love to hear some stuff in the comments.
That would be
please share with us, folks.
Yeah,
you don't have to use your real name.
or use the name Nick, just one I've made up.
Just out of the clear blue sky. That's right.
Nick with a C, right?
Hey, Nick, if you saw, I was doing the hand gesture. I didn't mean to. If it got in the frame, please cut that out in spite of the abuse that we've heaped upon you. So, well, like Tom said, make sure you leave us your story or a story of a good friend that you would like to run the broadsword through his ribs down in the comment section. And please make sure you subscribe to our channel. That's really critical and important so that we can all someday get corporate jets. Also, make sure you check out gunsmagazine.com, americanhandgunner.com, and that little old publication known as americancop.com, which is not just for cops. It's for concerned and prepared citizens who are supportive of law enforcement. Anything I forgot to add there, Eric or Tom?
That was brilliant. That might have been the best closed summary ever.
Whatever the Oscar version for a podcast is, you should win it. At least once.
Outstanding. Well, hey, let's tease something big news. And the boss didn't tell us we could do this. I'm making this decision on the fly. There may be some little giveaway action going on American Cop, right, Eric?
So American Cop's going to be doing a giveaway over the next couple of months. We've got at least a couple optics, a fair amount of gear, training pistol that are all going to be coming up for giveaway. That'll be, I think, dropping next week. The initial sign up for that will be dropping next week.
Very
You
cool.
heard it here first, folks. Nice.
Yes, exclusive to the viewers of Gun Cranks. And finally, of course, we've got our special interest publications. That's what under Tom's wingspan. You can get those on our websites and at Amazon.com. Is it, I believe, DIY's up right now, right, Tom?
DIY is the newest one out. Got lots and lots of great home projects for builds, improvement, customization, you name it. And right on the heels of that, we're about to come out with the Old West Special Edition. So,
woohoo! Check that out. And I did forget, Guns Magazine podcast. It's turning heads and turning in a enormous audience. Someday we're going to beat out Joe Rogan. He'll be begging to come on our show. So check out Guns Magazine podcast, all of our websites, buy our stuff, build a small religious shrine to your favorite gun guys. That would be the Gun Cranks. We'll see you next episode, everybody.